Hello everyone, this is a continuation tutorial of RabbitMQ. In this tutorial, we will explore how to set up robust messaging system using RabbitMQ. That is, RabbitMQ basically is a powerful message broker. So first, let's understand the publisher and the consumer model. Previously in my last tutorial, we have shown how we are going to install RabbitMQ into our local machine, and also we will talked about that how we are going to create the cluster in our for RabbitMQ just to handle and also improve the performance of the system. So those link I will share in the description section obviously for this tutorial. And here we are going to explore about the how we are going to publish the message into the RabbitMQ and how we are going to consume or listen the messages from the RabbitMQ. So in this architecture, the publisher actually send a message to the queue while the consumer receive them. With Spring Boot, we can easily implement this pattern. It's allowing different application to communicate seamlessly. Like let's say there is already is a running application, so here you will show you means already as you can see that previously shown there is already this RabbitMQ actually it's working into our local. This is the node that currently implemented, but there is a no queue basically. So for publish the messages we need one queue, but there is a no worries. Like if there is a no queue while we are writing the code, then while we are trying to push the data into the queue, then it will automatically create the queue name if it is not exist, so that it will do. So then we need to create one Spring Boot project for that, and then we need to add the RabbitMQ dependencies over here for accessing the RabbitMQ related functionalities. So let's add these dependencies over here. So for that, as you can see, I have used this starter web, dev tools, starter test, and this rabbit test. So these are the dependencies I have used over here. With that, we need to use this RabbitMQ starter AMQ, Spring Boot starter AMQP. These dependencies we need to add to enable or accessing RabbitMQ related functionalities into Spring Boot application project. So this is kind of setup, only these dependencies we need to add, and other than this, if we want to create some REST APIs and all, then Spring Boot starter web dependency is also needed. Next, what we'll do, we'll create the RabbitMQ connection settings, and because this is very crucial for creating the connection of our application to the message broker. So let then create these connections for this one, right? Because this connection is very crucial for this one. So for that, let's create one publisher, or first of all let's create one configuration class where we need to defining the queue name. So let me create one class over here, like configuration class obviously we'll create over here. So I'm not going to create another package for this, I'm just keeping all the classes under the same package, but recommended it to creating the separate packages for configuration, service layer, as well as some other controller part also. But here I'm going to just directly creating means keeping all the classes under the same package. So we should annotate this particular class with configuration annotation, right? Because it will be a configuration class. Next, we need to create one bin, so that it will basically keeping the information about to the queue, like public, then it will return the queue. So now if you see that particular queue actually it's coming from the AMQ, this code, this queue actually you need to take org springframework.amqp.core, this queue we need to take. Here we can defining that my queue, okay, and it will return new queue, and here we can defining the name of this particular queue, let's say my queue, okay. And then so using this we can defining this queue over here. If you open this one, so durable for the timing we can keep it as false here, okay. So in this way we can create just queue, one queue that is bin, So once this configuration classes creation is done, then next we need to create the message queue publisher configurations over here. So for that we need to create another publisher class which will basically like move the data or like push the data, publish the data to the RabbitMQ. So here we are going to use the RabbitMQ template. So this is already like provided by this RabbitMQ dependency that we have added over here. So we are going to create one class that is message publisher over here, and this particular class we need to annotate this particular class with component. Okay, with component we need to annotate. Then next we need to use the rabbit template. We need to use these dependencies over here. Auto private rabbit template. This template, as you can see, this org rabbit spring framework.mqp.rabbit.core. This template basically we are going to use it over here for publish the data into the queue. Next we are going to create one method over here like send message. Okay, so here we can send any kind of messages by this RabbitMQ template dot. So it's actually having the method like convert and send. This method actually is having. So here what we need to provide? We need to provide like the queue name and the message. What message basically we need to send over here. And this is actually the queue name. So what was the queue name for us? The queue name is this my queue, and the any messages we can like we can push over here like hello RabbitMQ. Okay, so this message we can push over here. So once this is done, then we can like put some kind of messages over here like kind of some sysout kind of thing we need to print like message sending is done successfully. Okay, so this is actually we are going to send the messages to the publish the messages to the RabbitMQ message. Okay, so using this RabbitMQ template we need to inject. As you can see, there is a nothing complexities over here. We just need to add the dependencies into the over here in the POM file RabbitMQ over here. This is the dependencies that we need to add over here, and we need to create the configurations which will basically like actually we have created the bean of this particular queue, and then we have created this publisher message over here which will basically like doing the sending the like convert and send means it will basically sending this particular message. Whatever the message, instead of the message it can be a some kind of details also, like which will consider multiple record multiple data. So anything we can send over here, but for the demonstrating purpose I'm just keeping it as a only single string, and here we need to provide the queue name. So then from the controller layer we can like call this particular method. Okay, let me create one class like message controller. Okay, so here basically we need to annotate this class rest controller with and also the rest mapping. So these are like these two annotation we need to add over here. So next we can inject the auto using the auto the message publisher bin over here, message publisher class over here. Okay, so this bin we need to inject over here, and then using this bin we need to call the method. Like for that we need to create one method over here like push message into the queue, and then like based on this method we need to call the send message method over here. Okay, and we can return success. We can return success that this particular message is basically is successfully sent, and we can define the gate mapping over here, and we can defining the some path like maybe it's a kind of publisher, so publish. Okay, so this method we can defining over here. Now let's see like let us start this application, and then from the postman we can see that like once it will actually basically, once we have triggered this particular controller, so it will basically push the data into the queue, and from the portal we can see that particular data will come over here. We can also get the statistics of the details of this particular message. So here as you can see that it's saying that 880 port is already used, so maybe something was running. So I've already stopped all those things over there. So as I was saying that once, as you can see, there is in no queue is currently is created. We can also create the queue from over here also. But once we have pushed this particular data into the queue, then automatically this queue will get created. So for that we need to start the application, and then we just need to call this particular controller so that it will like it will push the data into the over there. We need to add some path like something like this over here. Okay. So let it start. So once actually it will start, then we can like see from the postman, as you can see that it's saying that the application got started over here. Okay, so now from the postman we can like push the data by using this method. So what was the port? Like the path will be http colon slash double slash localhost colon 8080 slash API slash publish. Okay, so that is the path. Let us reconfirm. So API and the publish. Okay, so this is the path. So now let us to trigger the API. So now you can see the 200 over here, and in the body we are getting the success message. From the over here also you can get that message sending is done successfully. Now if we open the over here, you can see that queue is got created over here, and also you can see that data is 1 currently. In from the overview section also you can see some statistics over here, the messaging rate and all the coming over here. So you can see that one message is in the queue currently. Next, suppose if we try to post some more data, 3 4 and 5, correct? So we have inserted 5 records. So you can see after some time, once it will got refreshed, so you can see that 5 records over here. Okay, so let it, okay, you can see that 5 datas come over here. Okay, so in the queue. So here also you can get that is 5 datas. Okay, so that means the datas got pushed over here successfully over here, correct? And in the overview section also you can see the details that it is basically coming over here. Now like what we can see, like next you will create another method actually, which will basically like pull the data from the queue, right? So for that we need to write another things over here. So what we need to write, we need to write the listener part, like consume, which will basically consume. So for that we need to write the consumer part over here. So let us create another class, that is RabbitMQ consumer. We need to annotate this particular class with @ service layer. Okay, and then next we need to create basically one listener. So for that we need to use listener. Okay, rabbit listener, this one. So what it will do, it will basically listen. From where it will listen? From the queue. So that's why we need to provide the names over here. Like what was the queue name? Queue name was my queue. Okay, and then we need to like write the message, so it will get the details from the as a string. So public void receive message, then here we need to define this message. So this particular message we are going to get from the queue, means while it will basically listen the data. So now if we save this one, then it will after certain time it will started the listen the data from over here. Now I'm saving the data, so and then it will actually got restarted, and after that you can see it will basically receive messages from this one. Now if we open the queue over here, you can see there is a no messages over here because all are consumed by this queue, correct? So all the things are currently 0 because you can see all the messages, whatever the 5 messages we have pushed over there, so all the things are got like pull or consume by this message. So using this rabbit listener will basically listen from the particular queue. Now let us again pull some data. So I have again pulled some data. You can see that message sending is done successfully. In the same time, it will got receive the message, and this is the message that we have pushed. So that means in this way, basically we can defining our own publish and also the consume the message by this way. So and you can see the queue is currently empty because the whatever the data we have pushed into the queue, that is consumed by the RabbitMQ listener. So in this way, basically that we can defining all the things. So what we have, just to summarize, what we can do, first of all we need to create one queue, that bin. Then first of all we need to defining these dependencies into the POM file, that AMQP. This is the starter dependencies that you need to add for accessing all the RabbitMQ related methods and all the classes. Then we need to create these configurations just to create this queue bin. Then we need to create one publisher method, which will basically using the rabbit template we can push the data into the queue, in this particular queue, okay, whatever the message you need to send over there. And then from the controller we need to trigger this message so that we are going to send the messages to the queue. And next we have created the listener, which will basically listen the data from the queue, means whatever the data we have pushed into the queue, the same it will be listened by this method. So this is all about this, how we are going to publish the data into the queue, how we are going to consume the message from the RabbitMQ messaging broker. So this is overall things. If you guys have anything, please do let me know in the comment section. Please press the bell icon for further notification. Don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thanks for your time. See you in my next videos. Bye bye.